morning and welcome back. This is World Talks coming to you live from Warsaw. Poland launched its presidency of the Council of the European Union on Friday. The ceremony was attended by many notable individuals, including European Council President António Costa. However, there were some noteworthy absentees as well, among them the Hungarian leadership and Polish President Andrzej Duda. To take stock of what could the next 6 months at the helm of the Council of the EU mean for Poland, I am joined here this morning by Piotr Gałązka, Director, Representation Office in Brussels, Polish Bank Association. Good morning, sir. Delighted to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with major goals for Poland. So the slogan of Polish presidency is Security Europe. So, of course, there will be an emphasis on Europe protecting itself, especially in the light of what's going on in Ukraine. But how is that increased security to look like in practice?
Well, first of all, it's important to say that European Union as such is the organization which is not a military one, it's an economic one. So first of all the tasks and all the effort which will be undertaken during the next 6 months on the Polish realm, let's say, will be focused on providing economic, I would say, security both for citizens and for businesses of Europe, based on raising competitiveness and strategic autonomy of Europe. In the light of all what is taking place on the global level. But of course, as it was said many times during yesterday's event and also now in your television, the importance of the dual use of multiple resources which can be used both on civil and military level is also very, very important. So I believe that the comprehensive approach which will be undertaken by European Union, not only by the Polish presidency, which of course is focused on the work of the Council of European Union, but also taking into account the priorities of the newly appointed European Commission, will be focused on multiple tasks related to providing safe and sound reality for all the people living within the European Union.
Right, and sort of one important aspect of this security we are witnessing just now what is going on in Moldova is the energy security. So as a result of over-reliance on Russia. So how could this taking care of EU's energy security look like, and what could Poland do to help?
I believe if I would point the most important issues which should be put on the table during next 6 months, but also in the longer run, is of course, as you said, energy, and secondly, raw materials. First, in terms of energy, I think it's important to really becoming independent from sources from third countries and diversify the energy mix in a way that it allows European Union and its members to feel safe about the level of energy which is provided on a daily basis. And secondly, in terms of raw materials, this is, I believe, even more important than energy, because the fact that we as European Union and its members, we are obliged to import multiple raw materials which are essential for many sectors of our economy from third countries, sometimes countries who became hostile towards us, and they're using this situation in order to raise funds for things which are not favorable for European Union, least to say, is something which is very crucial in a negative way for European politics. So I believe that becoming independent, Europe becoming independent from resources from outside is one of the crucial elements of this strategic autonomy, which was also mentioned by António Costa in his yesterday's speech in Warsaw.
Right, but I mean, some of these agreements are, sort of very lengthy and legally complicated. So how could this transition, do you think, how could it look like? And what are some of the goals, on the to-do list for the near future?
What we can see on the European Union level is that European funds are being targeted towards sectors of economy which require support and help from the public sector. So there are multiple funds and multiple programs which are focused mainly on providing more and more raw materials and, of course, energy resources for the purposes of the security of Europe. But second thing, which is also very important, is the discussion about the public debt. So I believe that European Union should also discuss spending on things which require immense support from the public sector in the couple of quarters to come, which should be excluded from the calculation of the public debt by the within the member states. So this is something which is also raised by Poland. I know that Mr. Domański had multiple talks about it on Brussels level. So that spending on defense, but also on many sectors which are prima facie civil, not military one, but has this importance of dual use, but also to support military aims, should be excluded from calculation of the public debt, which should now focus, the public spending should now focus on those particular sectors.
Oh, this is certainly quite important. Now, if you don't mind, let's turn to farmers, because they were protesting last night here in Warsaw against various EU policies, notably the Mercosur deal. However, one could argue that farmers were some of the EU grants beneficiaries, right? I mean, most people who most benefited from some of these grants. So why does this connect between, perpetual dissatisfaction and actually the support that they're getting?
Well, it's no surprise that the new things coming up might raise some concerns in particular groups or particular entrepreneurs. I think that agriculture should first of all understand that the whole policy of European Union is really focused about the integration of agriculture among member states. And this task will not go away overnight, or will not go away by signing any agreement, any trade agreement with third parties, being our partners in trade exchange. So that's the first thing. Secondly, we need to adjust our policies by making it the most efficient and the most effective. But at the same time, we need to be somehow open for discussion for alignments of this policy for the changing reality. But Poland, as one of the largest countries and one of the biggest producers of agricultural goods, I think it's quite safe, taking into account that the import of those resources from the Mercosur country will not be, I would say, extremely general. It will be rather targeted on things which are not sufficiently provided by the local, in a way, internal economy of the European Union. So I think that those are two the most important arguments which should be raised in the discussion which is currently taking place.
And of course, this does not include apples, which are one of the major Polish products, right? I mean, exported.
Oh no, I wouldn't be worried about apples at all. I don't think that the climate of Southern America allows to produce apples so easily.
Of course. So, I mean, our discussion wouldn't be complete if we did not touch on Hungary. So do you think that Hungary now is officially a pariah in the EU? And I mean, can it come back from this, especially given that Hungarian representative was not present last night at this ceremony here in Warsaw?
Divergences between member states within the European Union has always been taking place as long as the European Union and before that European communities existed. One thing to remind was the policy of empty chair of France, which really practically excluded France from the work of the communities for long months. So I believe that the current situation of Hungary is somehow difficult, but I believe that this is not the problem which might be persistent and problematic to solve. The only thing which is required, of course, is openness and trust from two parties, from both parties, meaning Hungary as a member state and European Union as such. And we've been seeing many member states having problems quotes with the cooperation with European Union, because of course we all know that politicians sometimes have to sacrifice the relations with the European Union for the sake of the internal policy. But I do not expect it will last very long as, of course, there will be an openness for discussion from both sides. And the European Union, I believe, as member states are, of course, the base of the existence of union, will always be open for discussions and finding the same page with member states.
Right, and speaking of internal policies, the presidential election is taking place in Poland this year. So some actually worry that it could overshadow the Polish presidency of the Council of the EU. So do you think that this fear is legitimate?
I mean, in every democracy, there is always an election on the horizon. So of course, those elections and the outlook for the next election is always influencing the whole policy of each member state, both internally and European Union level. But I don't think that this fact will very heavily influence the presidency of Poland to the European Union. We need to understand that presidency, first of all, is not galas and concerts and very interesting and very pleasant events. But first of all, presidency is a very, very heavy work of guiding the work of the Council of European Union through all the work, which is very difficult to achieve compromises within those work by distinguished men and women of Poland, servicing their country, but now also European Union on Brussels level, negotiating on a daily basis, both within the Council and also in trialogues with European Parliament, all the new acts of EU law being in the pipeline. So those people for the next 6 months will be working under very strong influence and pressure, with very little sleep and very little access to their families, because I believe they will be waking up before the children go to school, and they will be back home when children will be already sleeping. So I believe that it's important to highlight that those are the, in my opinion, the very important heroes of this presidency, who we should send kudos once the presidency is done. So this, of course, will go very smoothly, taking into account the quality of those people, which some of them I have a pleasure to know personally, and the fact that the election coming underway will not influence this that heavily as many may think.
So let's hope it will be worth the sacrifice and that it will be a fruitful half a year for both Poland and the EU. Piotr Gałązka, Polish Bank Association, thank you so much, sir, for being with us this morning. Much appreciated.
Thank you, ma'am. Have a good day.
And thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World.